My name is Jane Wathome, mother of 3 adult children, and founder and executive director of Beacon of Hope. Beacon of Hope is a faith-based organization that began in 2002 and began because of a call and a burden that God put upon my heart. The issues of HIV and AIDS in Kenya and in Africa then became a big thing, and I realized that those most affected are women who are not very exposed, and women who are not very educated and who didn't have a voice for themselves. And that's how I ended up in the community, began going to the slums. Back in 2001, 2002, began visiting Kware slums. At times I would go to Kibera, visit with the women, hear their issues, and it was really heartbreaking then. And for me, I think what was most challenging is being confronted by poverty together with HIV and AIDS. Little houses, people really struggling for existence. What we call prostitution, but because but this way as a business, because they didn't have a way out. So for me, it was an interesting connection between what I had studied in the Bible and facing the reality on the ground. And then I asked them, if you were to be given an opportunity to do something with your life, what is it that you'd want? And they came up with a list of things. They wanted access to credit, to start little businesses. They wanted to be trained in different skills, and they came up with the idea of the carpet weaving that we do today. They wanted to be taught how to weave, and all the stuff that we are doing today, the table bankings that they do today began then. They came up with those ideas.
Wakati tulikuwa tunajifunza kosi ya maths, tulianza na home-based care. Tulifanya kwa miezi 6, alafu kuanzia hapo sasa nikaanza kujifunza kushona mikeka. Kwa hivyo niko na kosi 2 kutoka Beacon, ya home-based care na ya mikeka. Kuanzia wakati nilipojifunza hadi mwisho, si kuenda mahali pengine, ni wao walinichukua. Na kuanzia wakati huo, nimekuwa mfanyikazi wa Beacon wa kushona mats.
Beacon of Hope walikuja kwa nyumba kunitembelea. Nikawaambia shida yangu. Waliniletea karai na kijiko ya kuchoma samaki. Walinipromote na kitu kidogo. Nikaanza biashara yangu. Vile nilianza biashara, nilikuwa na save kidogo kidogo. Tunaenda kwa chama, tunajifundisha vile tunafanya chama, tunafanya table banking, tunachukua pesa, tunapromote biashara. Naweka kidogo kidogo, nikaona mzee hana kazi. Hata naona saa hii nauza samaki imeshaleta paka carpenter.
Social economic empowerment supports over 30,000 orphans and vulnerable children. Our goal is to transform individuals, families and communities through physical, economic, social empowerment for them to be able to realize their goals and be able to realize their intrinsic potentials.
There's dignity when you give people a fish or teach them how to fish for themselves, as opposed to giving handouts. But initially, we had to do the same. We had to do those simultaneously. We had to feed them when we began the center. We had to take care of their children, and we had to give them a meal. And then we also had to give them the spiritual hope. So every morning, we've had a culture of Beacon of Hope, doing devotions every morning up to today. For me, what I loved and I continue to love about what we do is those women who were once bedridden, once they became strong, they would be the ones who would send into the community to look for others and nurse them and give them, use the skills we had given them in home-based care and then bring them to us so that we can continue doing the same transformation. So as we did that, we realized that we need everybody who is coming to know their status. So that's how we started the Counseling and Testing Center. And then we started a small room cabinet with a volunteer nurse, where we now began to give opportunistic medicine to just keep them going. But then we realized the numbers are growing, but they're also still dying. So we decided, the numbers are growing, the children are increasing, we need our own center.
And now what we are doing, because we are no longer having those people that are bedridden, but again, what we are doing now is what we call community dispensation of drugs, especially for ART drugs. So we take them to wherever they are, to their home.
When you see Beacon of Hope today, it's really been a story of transformation, of very many people coming alongside us. You know, the beneficiaries are themselves, the families themselves, you know, because we had held them and spoke hope into them and spoke the love of Jesus unto them and told them that they can actually do it. And all we were trying to do is to restore their dignity, to get them moving. We started a preschool. Initially, it was to create a very good foundation for the children. And then after that, release them to the public schools. But we realized that that was not tenable for some of the children because of the situations at home. If we leave them to go to the public schools without the nurturing and care and the follow-up that we do, those kids, 5 years down the road, their lives will be like their mothers. So what we did is, after some time, God challenged us to take a step of faith and do a primary school. And here we do projects by faith. And haven't we seen God at work? You know, we've really seen God at work.
Beacon of Hope, a school with a modern facility, spacious environment, and child-friendly. There was also need to nurture children, to work with them, and to ensure that the foundation laid is not lost.
Because now the mothers were stable, a lot of them were running their own businesses, others were out of they sort of like had graduated out of the program. They asked us, could you also support us with our own children? We've seen how our lives have been transformed. These are children you've journeyed with from the time they were young. Could you also walk alongside us to give them a skill, just the way you've given us a skill? But with the next generation, they came up with different ideas. They didn't want to weave carpets. They wanted to do food and beverage. They wanted to do building construction. You know, they wanted to do beauty and hairdressing.
At Beacon of Hope, we have really empowered the youth through the Technical Training Institute and also through the Youth Empowerment Program. And under the Youth Empowerment Program is where we are doing short-term courses, 3 months courses, unlike at the BTTI where we are doing professional courses that are taking a minimum of 1 year, up to 3 years, equipping them with the employability skills ready for the market.
My name is Cosmas Mwendo Kavu. I'm a student at Beacon Technical Training Institute, pursuing a diploma in catering and accommodation. I'm currently in my second year, doing management in the kitchen. As you can see my gears. I love being a chef. Coming from a very humble background, Beacon had to step in to support my education. Beacon is home. There's no place there's no any other place than Beacon. Because for real, without Beacon, I wouldn't be here. And thank you, Beacon.
Sifa Guest House and Conference Center is our social enterprise program. Through Sifa Guest House, we've been able to offer employment to some of the community members. Then we've also been able to offer opportunities to students that come to us and are able to use the facility for purposes of accommodation and for them to get a chance at education once again. The resources we get from Sifa Guest House is able to support us in educating children who are vulnerable and I need to be able to sustainably move forward in their life. Sifa Guest House is able to accommodate both pleasure, especially for parties, as well as business. For those that have businesses, either large or big, they're able to access our auditorium-style hall. They're able to access also side meeting rooms for smaller groups. Then at Sifa, you'll find a very warm and homey environment with very earthy colors that are very conducive for those that visit. And just a great environment for both business as well as pleasure.